Yo YouTube! Hello there. I'm going to give you an update as to what's happened yesterday, and prior to that I'll tell you a bit of an update about other stuff. But this is a video that covers Wednesday the 7th of February 2024 and my work that I did. It's now the following morning and I'm in, as you can see, a very rainy, overcast North Wales on the coast, northwest coast. I've just dropped off my load from yesterday with the client, and I'm now heading towards Chester just to see if there's any work to be got in that area, because I don't think there will be here. It's now 8:40 in the morning. The signal isn't great here, but I haven't got any jobs popping up, so I'm going to head towards the northwest. To my left I can see the sea. There's a railway line running parallel to this road, and then there's the sea in all its wet glory. So, before I go on to talk about yesterday's work, I'm going to give you an update about a few things that are going on as to why I've not done many videos. So, first thing to say is my house sale fell through in the last week. So on the Monday of before, it was due to be completed on the Friday at the end of January, so it's like 29th of January, and on the Monday of that week we got a call from the estate agent telling us that the buyers had to pull out. And there's a whole load of story behind why, but I won't go into that. And so by that point I'd moved pretty much everything out of that house. That house now is pretty much empty. There's a few boxes and bits of furniture left to take out, but otherwise it's not occupied, but it is costing me money to maintain it. We've all gone our separate ways now, so I'm living with my partner, my wife is living with my youngest daughter, and my oldest son and oldest daughter have moved into their own places. So one of the reasons for not doing videos was for getting that sorted out, and then that fell through. But we have now got a buyer, so we have to start the process again. We're hopeful that it won't get messed up again. The buyers seem very keen. They were people that saw the house originally and missed out on it, and then they sort of inquired on and off chances available, and happened to speak to their neighbour about it, who was the estate agent. So we were quite fortunate to get a buyer straight away who was interested and motivated. So we'll have to wait. It's going to be a couple of months yet, but it just means that cash flow wise I'm really struggling because of paying the bills for that and other stuff. Health wise, I haven't worked since the 17th of January as well, because of my ongoing health issues, which I'm not going to go into in these videos. I've given enough information about it to give you some idea what effect it has, and as and when, if I'm still doing YouTube videos in a year's time, then I'll let you know how things are at that point. But right now it's just I'm just struggling for motivation to get out and do work, and then to January is it's been quite difficult to find CX the last couple of weeks, but the last couple of days I've looked and the work has been sporadic and very low paid. And I'll talk about it in a minute. Low pay. In also a couple of other little things I want to share with you that have happened since last time. When I joined CX, which would have been late February last year, I didn't bother to join the Trusted scheme, which was sort of being introduced about that time, or was around. And the Trusted scheme, I wasn't quite sure I knew the point of it, to be honest. But about a month ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, it must have been January sometime, after Christmas, they got in contact with me and they said that I had to join. So I've signed up for Trusted. I really do not see the point of it. I've given Trusted, which is basically just an arm of TEG, all the same details, the same evidence I gave the CX app. Exactly the same information, and it's just duplicated. I don't really get why it's duplicated. There's obviously something going on in terms of a business model that they want to develop about it, but it's something that I've had to do now, and it's done. Also, I've had a few before I started doing same-day courier work. I may have had one parking fine in the whole time I've been driving since the late 90s. But doing this job, I've had loads of them. Basically London work gives me the fines. And I had fines. Oh yeah, to give a caveat to this, I forgot about this. I know there are some people out there in YouTube land, bless them, that love it when I tell them about my mistakes. They can look down on me and think how such a fool I am for making these mistakes. So I thought I'll give you this as a little bit of food for your egos. Yeah, this is another mistake that I've made, which has cost me money and at just the wrong time. So I've had about 2 fines, or maybe 3 fines over the last few weeks from crossing the what I call Dartford Tunnel, Dartford Bridge. Well, Dartford Tunnel, Dartford Bridge. It's called Queen Elizabeth Bridge now. I think of it as Dartford Bridge, Dartford Tunnel. And I thought I'd signed up for their scheme to pay for it automatically. But I think what I had done is signed up for the congestion charge scheme, and the Dartford scheme was my car like years ago. So it's my own fault for not checking, and I got letters in the post saying I hadn't paid a fine of £30. I had about 2 or maybe 3 of those. No, I think it was 2 of those. But then I have also had it over the last year. I've had about 3 fines for parking in different places in London that I shouldn't have done. So another reason to avoid London. But it's just come and what made it worse was because I'd moved out of my family home, but I hadn't sold it. My company post was going to that address, and I had I'd forwarded with the post office post for me personally, but anything that was addressed to my business address, I hadn't forwarded it because I just thought it wasn't. Most of that stuff isn't important. So what ended up happening was the fines. Well, because basically I could pop over and get the post every so often, but I did that less and less and less over time. And then when these letters came through, they just sat at home, in my old home, and that meant I had to pay for one of them, the 70 quid, because it was late beyond the 30 days. think I paid a couple of 70 quid and then another 30 quid, something like that. So it was been a very expensive couple of months for fines, and just added to the cash flow issue that I'm having. Right, so that's quite a negative start to my video. So let me move on to yesterday. I did try briefly to do some work on Tuesday, but I couldn't get a decent job. So I ended up yesterday getting a job, and that was from Bourne to Birmingham, and it was 78 miles loaded for a small van, and it was around about 12 miles away from where I lived, roughly. So I bid £75 for 78 miles plus the 12 miles, so 90 miles in total. And I got that bid, which I thought was reasonably good value for a small van job. And I picked that up yesterday morning at 9:45. Due to be there at 10. Picked up at 9:45. There was it was from an auction house, some items to take to a theatre, and when I got there, I was given a name to give as a reference, but that wasn't adequate. And in the end, there's a bit of phoning to and from the auctioneer to their boss, and in the end, they found the paperwork. I got loaded up about 15 minutes later. So it wasn't a lot to take. My van was pretty empty. It's a bit of it's like second-hand audio-visual equipment, quite old-looking stuff. It could have been to use, but it could have been for a play, for all I know. I was going to a theatre, Birmingham rep. So I made my way to Birmingham. It was about a 2-hour journey, and I got there and offload. I rang the customer before I arrived, and they kindly were outside when I arrived with a couple of shopping trolleys to collect the stuff from me, which was really helpful, and they were really friendly people. So I dropped that off, got my pod side, took a photo of the stuff in the trolleys, and then made my way just to a local housing estate to park up, because where I was, loading bay of the theatre was just far too busy. And then I was finished about 12:15, and so I was looking for a job, and I sat at the on the estate bidding on stuff, and I found that there was quite a lot of jobs, to be fair, in Birmingham and around Birmingham, and I was prepared to go anywhere. There was one job to Aberdeen. There was quite a few jobs, sort of Coventry, Rugby way, going sort of 50 miles odd. A couple of jobs to Manchester, 3 or 4 jobs to South Wales. Yeah, all over really, down to Gloucester. Probably about 6 to London. I ignored the London ones. I ignored the backload ones. Even in this climate, I'm not going to go down that route. And what I found out about my bidding was for the minimum price jobs, which is sort of like 5 miles within Birmingham, or 10 miles, 20 miles, up to about 40 miles. My minimum price I feel comfortable with is £50. And I know that I won't get a minimum price job of £50 in this climate. I put in loads of bids, and I was quite close to some of them. But the rationale then is you've got to go lower to 40 or maybe even to 30. And I just find that I'd rather not do a £40 minimum price job because of the time it takes. And that's a bit of an emotional response, I suppose, rather than a rational one. It's just the way that I feel is my time is worth, what time's worth. So what I've ended up doing instead is to get a job in this climate. I've done the awkward jobs, the ones that people don't want to do, but for a price that I'm prepared to do them for. So in the end, I was pretty bids on anything really. And in the end I did get a job for a decent amount of money, but it was an awkward job, and it was going from Birmingham sort of that afternoon to Colwyn Bay in North Wales in the morning, this morning, for a 9 o'clock drop off. So I bid on it. The number of loaded miles was 818, 118, and it's for a medium wheelbase van, and I bid £125, 125, and I got it quite quickly actually, to be honest. It ran me probably in about a minute, and dead miles, it was about 12 minutes away, about, I don't know, 6 miles away, so quite close to me as well. So, and I got that job at around about 2 o'clock. So I'd been bidding for the close part of 2 hours by this point, and I'd probably bid on about 20 odd bids in that time. So at this point, I got made my way to the pickup point, which was like a wholesaler of building merchants' goods, and there was a load of vans waiting to load. I popped in and just said I was here. Although they were very busy, there's loads of men in high-vis suits, high-vis jackets, being very busy loading up lots of vans. And in those climates, sometimes you can feel like you're in the way. But I got there, I stood there looking gormless, which is always a good test of people's helpfulness. And they pointed me in the right direction to the office, because it was quite clear. The officer was really nice, gave me some paperwork, told me to tell them what number I was. I told them, they told me to wait. I said I'd wait for them, and they said that's fine. And then I waited. I went back in the street, and there was about 4 or 5 vans waiting on this sort of industrial estate. It was quite packed. It wasn't like it was an old-fashioned place. And I was waiting, and I was waiting for about 25 minutes before I got called in. But when I was called in, I was quite efficient, and I had a chance to look at what I was carrying while I was waiting on my paperwork, and it was 5 rolls of roof insulation. So at this point I thought, I don't know how much space that's going to take up in my van, so I was a bit concerned as to what I was going to do now, because I was delivering, because it was only sort of 2:15 in the afternoon. I wanted to get more work done, but I didn't know if I had space in my van to put more work, and also I didn't know if I had room to tramp in my van tonight, because it was an overnight delivery. So I had to wait to see what I got to work out what my plan was going to be. And in the end, I got the load. It was just old-fashioned, what I would call old-fashioned roof insulation, fibre insulation. 5 rolls, 4 of them are wrapped up together to make one big package, which is hard to move, but soft and sort of rollable, I would say. And I put that to the side of my bulkhead, and then I put the other roll on top, and so I had basically a completely empty van, apart from like a foot in circumference rolls and 1.2 metre long rolls. So I was quite relieved because there's loads of space left. So at this point I thought I'll try and get some sort of co-load to deliver within Birmingham before I go to Colwyn Bay tomorrow morning. So I tried to ring the shipper back on their mobile number, and there was just no response. I rang about 5 times, no response. Because I was trying to ring him to say I've got the load now, and also can I do a co-load? And there's no response, and I didn't feel comfortable just bidding on co-loads without knowing. So I went onto the CX system and found the shipper's number, which was a landline number, using my Chromebook. And then I called the number, and the number that answered was the reception of the wholesaler that I picked up. So what I worked out was, it was the wholesaler was shipping their own goods. And I said to the lady, oh sorry, I got the wrong number, because I didn't feel comfortable asking the wholesaler if I could co-load their goods with someone else, just in case they didn't understand. I didn't feel comfortable asking, so I didn't bother. In my mind, me asking a shipper who's an intermediary, can I have consent to move your load, kind of gives. If they say no, that's fine. If they say yes, that's fine. But me asking the customer directly if I can co-load it just feels a bit too in their face, I think, for me. So I decided that I wouldn't co-load. And also it took away. I find co-loading so stressful because you've got to kind of tie it all into everyone's time scales and not let anyone down. So at this point it was about 2:30. It's about 2:30. I was trying to think what I'm going to do, and my options now were, now that I wasn't going to get a co-load. Sorry, it's about 3 o'clock now because I spent a long time ringing beforehand trying to get through to it. So I wasn't going to get a co-load. I could trump in my van, so I decided that I would stop work at this point, and I want to talk about that next. So that is the end of my working day, and I made a conscious decision at this point, about 3 o'clock, to turn off CX, and I didn't even look for jobs at this point because of the next thing that I want to talk to you about, which is, and I'm going to use the term work-life balance here, which means different things to different people. It's quite a good phrase to kind of set the scene for what I'm going to talk about, and in my head it means something quite specific, and I'll give you some context about this. So before Christmas, in my last Christmas video, I mentioned that this year I want to look at getting a better work-life balance, but I didn't really define what I meant by that. And at the time I didn't really know what I meant by that, but I've kind of had a chance to think about it now, and I've spoken to a couple of people about it, and I've kind of got my head around what I mean by that. So my life is pretty good at the moment. I'm just a normal guy trying to make my way through this world. I'm more than halfway through my life, and my active life, I've probably got not much of that left in terms of my to do stuff freely. I've had a great family, and they're going to grow up and do their own thing now. And I've made mistakes, and I've not been the best dad or the best husband in the world. But I wouldn't say I was nasty. I just wasn't necessarily present, is probably what I would say. And that's because I wasn't aware of my autistic traits, and just one single-minded and stuff. So being single-minded and having anxiety about my weight and about money has meant that I've missed out on sort of embracing things in my life. And I don't want to do anything particularly special. I just want to feel that with the time that I've got left, I don't waste it worrying about stuff that's not worth worrying about. And that's what I mean by my work-life balance. If you've seen the videos on my autistic mind, you might have some understanding about, I feel that my mind is quite a hard thing to deal with. And the way that the trouble with my mind is kind of the number of thoughts I get that are not very constructive, and they are distracting, and they kind of put me off. And now I'm aware of it, I can kind of begin to have some sort of control over it. And so in terms of work-life balance, it's not about me necessarily doing less work or doing things differently when I'm not working, but it's about me being more present when I'm not working, about me giving people around me a better quality experience of my time, being a better quality of person when I'm with other people. I find other people difficult at the best of times, but I have to make a conscious effort to kind of be. The best way to describe it is being present. Is the best way I can describe it, which I don't know if that helps at all, but it means something to me. So, I'm not necessarily looking to do less time at work, but my time has to be at work has to be, worth doing for a reason. And that reason could be just to be on my own and earn a bit of money and just to see the country. It doesn't have to be only about earning X amount of money. But I do like that kind of aspect of the work, is earning a certain amount of money, having a target. Right now, I don't have a target. Right now, my aim of working is to earn anything just to bring in some money. Because the job is really good. I love this job. But having targets in this climate is going to be a fool's errand. So I found a great job, I found a great partner, I've discovered a bit more about my mind and how that works. So life-wise, I'm kind of half there. And if I can just sort out money, which would be selling this bloody house, and my health, which is particularly an issue at the moment, but there is a light at the end of that tunnel, then things will be perfect. But I can't keep worrying about those things all the time. So anyway, so moving on. Yesterday, I enacted for the first time consciously, I suppose, a different work-life balance. So I stopped working. I contacted my daughter, who lives in Manchester, and I found out if she was available for me to go and visit her. And luckily for me, she was free that evening. So I made my way to Manchester from Birmingham, which was sort of an indirect route to Colwyn Bay. And we went and we watched a film, we had a meal, we had a great time together. And that was me trying to have a better work-life balance. Generation X men out there who look like me, yes, I was crying just then. I'm not ashamed of it. You can all fuck off if you think that's bad. Embrace your emotions. I didn't for a long time, but it's not good for you. So I was after we had our meal, which I finished about and watched the film. It was about 10:30. I made my way to Colwyn Bay last night. It's about an hour and a half. I found a tramping site in a lay-by, about 5 minutes from a drop-off, which ended up being a residential address. So if I'd had it was a bit late to call them. I did think about calling them, but it was more like it was about 11:30, but it's obviously too late to go there. But I'm really glad that I stopped working and I did something that encouraged my relationship with my daughter. I think I did mention that my daughter and her boyfriend were told about my videos at Christmas, so she might be watching this now. So if she is, she knows this, but I love you. I'm really proud of you. I'm really pleased for you and your boyfriend and the life you're going to have together. Right, let's be speedy and get past this van. I've got a little list here, so I've talked about everything on that list. I have got the comment from DW that I'm going to read out at some point and say my views on, but that's not going to be in this video. In fact, it's too long as it is. I can't, to be honest, I don't even know if you've heard this with the rain. So I'll finish off with the stats for yesterday, which are a bit skewed because, to be fair, I included in the stats my drop off today. Actually, I'm not sure I can get the stats because they're on. Let me see if I get them on another spreadsheet. Here we go, I'll get the spreadsheet open. So, talk among yourselves while I do this. I'm just going to get the spreadsheet open. Hopefully it'll tell me. Right, for yesterday, I'm having to assume 15.05 pence per mile because I haven't worked out my fuel costs yet for this week. But the number of miles I did yesterday was 276. The number of hours I worked was 6 hours. If you include dropping off this morning, I earned £200, 200. That was the £125 from Birmingham to Colwyn Bay, and the £75 I earned from Bourne to Birmingham. The total fuel cost for yesterday was £41.54, and my net income, including this morning's drop off, £158, £158. So as I said, targets are going out the window at the moment for me. I'm just trying to see if I can get back to work and do some work and see how it goes for February. January was a complete washout for me. I'm living off the invoices from before Christmas and they run out in mid-February, so we'll see how it goes. Just hoping this house gets sold quite quickly. Right, I don't know at this point whether I've overshared with you guys. I don't know what responses you're going to get. I'm a bit apprehensive about putting this on YouTube at the moment, but I did say when I started that I would be authentic and I would be open and honest, and that's the sort of person I want to be. So, well, that's what it's going to be. So, I want to, if you are a good professional shipper or driver, wish you the best of luck this year. It's tough for you guys. It's a great industry to be in, but it's really tough at the moment. And thank you for watching or listening to this video. Bye.